Welcome to the Exploring New England podcast with Ryan Zipp, where each week I will be talking about what makes this historic region such an amazing place to enjoy. From the scenic views to road trip ideas to where to grab the best eats and much more. Let's get going. Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the Exploring New England podcast with me, Ryan Zipp. And if you couldn't already tell, you will soon. Like many other New Englanders right now, my allergies are kicking my butt, and it's kind of hard to breathe out of my nose. So I may not sound the same. I'm going to try to do my best here, but that's one of the downsides to this beautiful time of year is that everything is blooming, and also the stuff that gets some people like myself knocked out a little bit is also out. So despite that, it's been a very nice start to spring, and now we're into kind of the meat of it, I guess you can call it. But May in general every year is a really busy time for me, mainly because at my store, the Fat Robin that I own, that's been in my family now for just over 29 years. We are a wild bird and nature shop in Hamden, Connecticut. For anyone that doesn't know or missed it in the earlier episodes. But this time of year is definitely, besides the holidays leading up to Christmas, it's our busiest stretch between just spring and the bird migration and people getting all these new exciting birds at their feeders. It's also Mother's Day, so we get a lot of people coming in to shop for Mother's Day, picking up things for people on their list. So I'm in the middle of that right now. So it's a busy time. So I try to get away when I can, but I'm definitely not typically doing a lot of travel in May. So on that side, I'm sure a lot of you also kind of, whether it's a basic, backyard bird watching, or maybe you do a little more, it's one of the most popular hobbies in the country, bird watching in general. So right now, even in my yard, I have a lot of cool stuff going on. I have a pair of bluebirds that are nesting for the second year in a row now, and they are the females sitting on eggs right now. Got a little bit of a late start this year, so I'm excited to kind of watch them along. Last year, they had 5 young fledged the nest, so I help them out. I feed them some live mealworms to kind of help supplement them, especially when they're busy trying to feed the five young babies, hopefully again. Also, I have Baltimore Orioles in my yard, which are awesome, and you kind of forget how amazing they are till you see them in person again in the spring. And this year I actually have a pair of Orchard Orioles, so slightly different, not quite as common. The adult male is more of like a burgundy orange, kind of, not that bright, vivid orange. So, and a lot of other great birds are, showing up, rose-breasted grosbeaks, and of course the ruby-throated hummingbirds, everyone's favorite, that kind of are here now in New England and stay through a good chunk of September. So, now is the time to, if you have hummingbird feeders, or if you don't have one yet, now's the time to get them up. And obviously, if you're in the Connecticut area, anywhere, you can pop into my store, and we will get you all set up with anything you need. Hit me up too if you have any just general questions about bird feeders and what you should be doing right now. But we have a lot of great stuff, a lot of made in USA things, squirrel-proof bird feeders, also bird houses to kind of help attract who you may want to get in your yard on your property. So a little bit of a shout out to my own business here, just because it's a fun time of year with that. We started our spring bird walks. We do them in Hamden, same town that our store is in. We do those Saturday mornings in May. So the first one was great. We had over 25 people come along with us and saw a lot of great birds. So we'll be doing that again this Saturday. So it's been keeping me busy. It always does every year. And I do try to sneak in some little getaways when I can, because obviously, like I'm sure you guys who have followed me for a while know that I don't stay home long. But it's been good. It's good to stay home and kind of enjoy my house, my property, and just being around and seeing all this cool spring stuff happen. But I do get antsy sometimes and need to get away. So actually, this last weekend, I was away for a few nights out on Cape Cod, and it was kind of a last minute thing that got put together. But that's been a spot I visited now. I think this is my third time visiting there in May, like the first couple weeks of the month. And like last week's episode, I talked about how Nantucket is a great kind of spring visit in that first half of May, just because there's not too many people visiting, a lot less tourists, and the weather is still nice. And also the prices of where to stay and everything are way down. So I would put the Cape in that category as well. So that's why I've done a few trips here, and I got back there this past weekend. And although the sun really didn't come out, it only rained at night, so I can't complain. But my first May visit there was back in 2021. I was working with a cool Airbnb there in South Yarmouth called Cape So Hard. It's the name of the Airbnb. So really nice, just multi-bedroom house in a nice residential neighborhood, but not too far from a number of beaches. And I kind of worked with them to get some new content of the house, surrounding areas, and they had just put a new bathroom in at the time. So that was a great stay. Did sunset on that visit up at Gray's Beach, which is a great spot, especially for sunset. Real long boardwalk out, kind of marshy around it, and then obviously you have the water out ahead. But it's a great spot for sunset and to end the day. So I don't know if that was my first time there, but might have been the second time. I think it was the second time there, but I got a pretty cool shot. Nothing too dramatic with the sky, but was able to get the sun setting to the right of the kind of pier boardwalk out there. But that was a great visit. There was still a lot of daffodils and some other blooms over by the coast. Drove through Chatham, did some stops over there. But yeah, it's just a great time to go because it was empty. You could stop at any beach you want, and just not many people. So you have the same great views, not quite as warm with temps, but a great time to visit. So I think that was my first May visit there. I made it back in May, second week of May, 2022. This time I drove all the way out and up to Provincetown, and another great area, very eclectic, and I'm sure many of you have been there. But it was just good to get up that way, and also it was when one of the full moons was rising, so I had kind of planned out a spot to be off a commercial street there to get it rising out over one of the distant lighthouses. So and actually ended up it was a success. Mother Nature cooperated. I had clear sky, and if you're watching, not just listening on YouTube, I'm sure I'll have a picture over here of said moonrise over the distant lighthouse. But it was good. That was a success, and also kind of a nice time just to be there and walk up and down Commercial Street, mainly because there wasn't really many people at all. When you get into the prime summer months, it's packed, it's nutty. So it's fun, and it's still a different kind of vibe though. So it's nice to get a spot like this that's so beautiful in the off season. So that was my second visit there in May, and then to this past weekend was my third time visiting there in May. And again, just being so busy at my store, I kind of was just looking for kind of a spot to get away where still might be some blooms or spring vibes going on, and just enjoy maybe something coastal before things got busy again. And this time I ended up connecting with an amazing resort there, a 5-star resort called Wequasset, and they have a whole resort there. They're hooked up with a 18-hole golf course. It's I believe like a top 20 rated course, Golf Digest in the country. It is a private course, but You either have to have a membership, or if you stay here at the resort, I believe you can play the course. I don't know what the costs are in that. I think it just opened at May 1st. Definitely one of the nicest spots I've ever stayed. I think it's got to be one of the top resorts or lodging on the Cape. It's obviously like the Chatham Bars Inn over in Chatham, which is beautiful as well. I've ate there, had some drinks there, but I've yet to stay there. But over at Wequasset, it's in Harwich, so it's just north of Chatham, along the coast. And I was grateful that they hosted me for a couple nights, and I worked at getting some content for them, just because they have some amazing landscaping going on, and there was still some different kind of cherry and blooming trees going on, so I was trying to grab some photos for them to have before those kind of run their course. But it was my first time here on that property, and definitely amazing. They have, I don't know, 3-4 tennis courts. They had a lap pool was open with a hot tub there. Kind of the main pool area isn't quite open yet. I forget what date they were saying that was all going to be open. Probably pretty soon, maybe later this month. But that pool area with like cabanas and like an outdoor bar, just very nice. Definitely one of those spots where you can kind of just roll in, and they're going to take care of everything that you need, and you'll definitely be occupied, and you can kind of do whatever you want. They offer things like, I was looking at their calendar, there's just always things going on, different themed dinners. They have like fishing trips they organize, lighthouse tours. I was impressed. They definitely did it up right. You could tell they've put a lot into it. I was talking to some people there. Over the years, it's been a few different things on the property. Kind of started smaller years ago, and then I forget what year they really kind of built on to kind of get it towards where it is today. But definitely like a first class property, and again, I appreciate them kind of having me come stay for the weekend. So stayed there for a couple nights. Got there after work on Saturday, and they have a number of restaurants on site. This time I went in for a later dinner. It was probably like 8:30ish. It's kind of in the main building where they have a few things, their main restaurant, but the spot is called Thoreau's after Henry Thoreau, and had a quote like when you open the menu up. I forget exactly now. I'm blanking on it, but something about he predicted, I forget what year it was, that Cape Cod would become America's playground. So I guess it kind of has. You know what I mean? It's a summer playground for people from all over New England and all over the country that come. So really cool, like darker vintage style tavern. And again, it's connected to their main restaurant, but they have some kind of tables, and I just sat at the bar, which generally in these trips I do myself. I like sitting at the bar. It's grabbing a bite and a drink, and that way you can kind of talk to the bartenders and just kind of get some info about the place. I always like finding out what it's all about, and then also like maybe they have some kind of something nearby that you should check out that you just haven't heard of before. And then you always end up just talking to other people that are there. It was kind of funny. There was a couple there at the bar, and they were having their wedding there. I want to say they said maybe September coming up. I forget, but it's later this year. And the resort kind of invited them to come for the weekend for a few nights. So they were from Massachusetts, and we got talking and just about different things in the past. And we ended up figuring out that with the soon-to-be bride, we were actually at a Foo Fighters concert at the same time at Citi Field when Dave Grohl broke his leg and he was in the throne performing. And then her soon-to-be husband, he had been to a number of concerts, including some at the Meadows up in Hartford for like the Old School Radio 104 Fest that my first band was playing at, and he was there that year. So it's just kind of funny, you run into random people, and just how small of a world it is. But So yeah, I ended up again. It was like 8:30. It was getting kind of late for dinner. I think they served till 9. I want to say in Thoreau's there. Um, so I went with this Wagyu cheeseburger. I caved and added the thick cut bacon on there with fries, and it was delicious. So I'd hit the spot after working all day and doing a 3 hour drive out there, um, and grabbed. It was like I think it was a Paloma. Yeah, it was a Paloma. So I've been on the tequila vibe, and that was delicious. So say they had a really cool menu, number of different cocktails, and then it was funny because I've just kind of seen it and heard it lately. It's just like espresso martinis are like the hot drink this year as of late. And there was a wedding. They also do weddings here on the property. There was a wedding from next door, and people were kind of spilling over, and they wanted some different drinks. I don't. Maybe they didn't have there at the bar for the wedding, but they just started coming in left and right, and just people were like, 4 espresso martinis, and I was just laughing because the bartenders just kept like, all right, how many are we making? And they were talking about like their records and how many they've done with some certain events coming up or that have happened recently. So I was just talking with them, laughing about how it's like the new hot drink. I guess the little bit of caffeine in there with the alcohol kind of just helps keep you going if you're at an event like that or just out for the night. So we were just kind of talking, and then half became a joke. The bartender was like, "So do you want one?" I was like, "All right, I'll have one." So that was kind of like my dessert drink after dinner. And then when asked if I wanted to see the dessert menu again, I had another moment of weakness, and whenever there's cheesecake, I pretty much always go with that. This time there was this raspberry cheesecake with sorbet, and it was really good. Hit the spot, and then after that, I definitely had to retire and go back to my room. Beautiful room, kind of water view, the harbor there, and super comfortable beds, nice high ceilings. So definitely a very nice spot. And if you're looking to do any kind of getaway as something a little more special, or any maybe anniversary, or just you guys are celebrating something, definitely look it up. It's worth it for that extra special thing. I was reading on their website; they're also dog friendly. I don't know how new that is. I think there's some specifications how many you can have, how large of a dog, but they do allow it. They even offer like grooming services, play dates, I guess, with other dogs. So they are, again, that's important for a lot of people who do travel with their dogs. The Wequasset is dog friendly. So yeah, so that was kind of my first night. Then like I said, kind of the sun really never came out. Luckily, it didn't really rain during the day. But then on Sunday, I kind of just walked around the property, really enjoying it, and it was Cinco de Mayo, so I was kind of excited when they told me early on that they would have a Cinco de Mayo brunch that day. So it was just after noon. I went over, and they had like a trio acoustic kind of Latin style band playing, and so it kind of had the vibe going well for that. And they handed you a Maya Mosa when you walked in. So it was like a mimosa with some kind of, it feels like tequila with mango or something. I forget, but it was tasty, and obviously never turned that down. So yeah, so it was kind of like an all-you-can-eat buffet style. Hand you the fancy mimosa when you walk in, and that's out in their outer bar and grill. That's like to the side of where the pool is. So yeah, so that was great. They had tons of great food. There was like this lobster and grilled pineapple little dish. There was also tequila lime shrimp. And then it was just a whole bunch of like huevos rancheros and a number of different shredded chicken, and I forget all the stuff, but I basically was just taking a bit of everything, and had to sample it all and enjoy it. Even some good desserts. So they definitely do it up here when it comes to the food. I have to say my first 2 meals kind of reinforce that. yeah, so I ended up staying 2 nights, and then on the last morning there, I had breakfast, and that's over in their what's it? 28 Atlantic is the name of their kind of 5-star rated restaurant there, and they do breakfast there in the morning. I had a roasted tomato and cheddar omelet. Came with these potatoes and peppers and onions and everything. So, and the best part about it was just the view. You have a nice water view when you're there. So, definitely like I said, an amazing spot, just like a world class resort. It's right there in Harwich on the Cape. So, again, if you've been thinking about a spot to celebrate something special occasion, and you can bring your dog as well, definitely check that out. And obviously, there's a million places to stay on the Cape depending on the vibe you're looking for and where exactly you are looking to stay. But yeah, I was excited to, anytime I get to stay at a new place, it's always fun for me. And even more so when I get to have these, cool opportunities to work with different inns and hotels and Airbnbs where, I'm just getting to keep like expanding outside of my normal photography, whether it be like nature or landscape, and kind of work with them to get content for their properties and, keep expanding my portfolio. So looking forward to doing more of those this coming year, spring and summer. Have some other stuff kind of in the works and penciled in. So it's an exciting time. And so I guess the long and short of all that is now is the time to still get to some places. Like I said last week, Nantucket. This week talked about different trips of mine out to the Cape, including my most recent one to Harwich. Of course, I cruised through like Main Street Chatham, which is always kind of a classic, over by the lighthouse there. And you always have to stop by the pier down there where the Chatham fish market is, and because there's always the seals floating around as the boats are coming in, and you always get good views at them, and they're like just rolling around and showing you their bellies and looking up at you. So it's always a fun stop. So I always recommend popping over there if you're in the area. But yeah, so definitely, now anytime before Memorial Day, even some areas it's not too bad early part of June, but it's a good time to, if you're looking just to get away for a night or two, take advantage of it now, because once it gets into the summer months, it's just insanity. Traffic, parking is nuts wherever you're at. The beaches, there's nowhere to park. It costs to park if you can, and lodging, is the biggest thing that just doubles and triples by then. So definitely, check it out if you can get away for a night and you've been thinking about it. Look into some spots on the Cape, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, Newport, Rhode Island, coastal Maine, like a Gunquit, Kennebunkport, Wells, York, kind of those areas, Rockport, Gloucester. So I think those are some I said last week, but definitely worth checking into. So it's kind of the last couple of weeks I've just, when I planned the podcast again to think about what I wanted to talk about and share with you guys, kind of what goes into my head thinking over the years is when's a good time to visit certain places, even if it's not for like certain targets, like I may be chasing something. Just these are good times to take advantage of these beautiful spots at a lower price and way less people around you. So that this kind of stuff will bring us through the next few weeks in May. And then I think next week I'm going to start with a few episodes of some stuff in June. Like, our next kind of bloom that we chase in New England is the lupin. And there's a few kind of one more so iconic spot for it up in the White Mountains, and then some areas that are amazing for it in coastal Maine. So I think the next few episodes, I'm just going to talk about kind of those to help you plan for June. So definitely keep checking in, as I'll help you guys, kind of give you guys ideas for day trips, overnights, weekends for the next kind of bit of late spring, early summer, I guess you could say. So keep checking in, and I appreciate everyone following me along on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and then of course on YouTube, where you're actually seeing me and photos of the things I'm talking about. So keep giving it those good ratings, giving the YouTube a like, throw a comment there, subscribe. All these things just kind of help me try to grow this thing. And I'm sure like some of you that are other creators, photographers, whatever, right now social media, especially Instagram, has been a bit tough on reach and engagement, and not many people are seeing our posts. So that's my main outlet for, sharing this with you guys. So a lot of people just aren't seeing what I'm up to right now. So I hope you guys are hearing this, and keep sharing it with any friends or family that you think would be into my work and what I do and kind of what I'm talking about with this podcast. And I'm excited to keep things going into spring and early summer, and keep adventuring with you guys. So this was episode 8, and happy to be here. Can't believe we're 2 months in now to this. It's wild. What started with just an idea and said, just going to make it happen. And here we are 8 episodes later. So I thank you all for supporting me and following me along. And I will see you guys next week. So have a good week. Get out there. Let me know where you guys ended up getting to exploring. And as always, if you have any questions, hit me up on Instagram or email. Just find a way to get a hold of me, and I'll try to get back to you guys. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys next week.